righty. Dum bum bum bum. Alrighty. Excuse me. Alrighty. Well, welcome, folks, to Tanya Today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad, Reincarnation, Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. We say hello to Michael in Germany. Rofu Shalom to your wife. Jackie is with us from, not certain, but Shalom. Joseph in rainy New Jersey, as it's raining here. Mark in Santa Rosa, California. Boker Tov. Leah is in Florida with us. And Diane all the way in Arizona. Good morning. Stan in Fort Myers, Florida. Welcome. Clem in Brisbane, Australia, where it's very late. Welcome. And joining us is Fabio. And Davida Liba in New York. Welcome. As always. Deborah's in Kitchener. Fellow Canadian. Welcome. Galise in Georgia. Lisa in West Virginia. Mark, good morning. We have Vilman, Bachia, Michael, Celeste, David. We have Rachel in South Carolina. We have Yocheved in Florida. We have Akoy in Peru with us. Merle has joined us. Ivach in Florida. Rena in Colorado. Eugenia is in Calgary with us. Bachia and David in Montreal. Boker Tov. Okay. We learned today the fifth essay. And this essay, a continuation of some of the thoughts that we've learned previously. Says the Alter Rebbe, let us understand the details of the law that never occur at all. There are several laws in the Torah, even biblical laws, let alone rabbinic laws, that never occur at all and possibly never actually existed. And certainly will not come to pass in the time to come. Like certain detailed laws of Pigul, of having a thought, of having something to be of an offering, to be not eaten at the right time, different things. So how does the study of these laws refine and elevate the sparks of that are hidden in that teachings that come from the world of Tohu, the world of chaos? Right? Now, that's the question. I know we've been dealing with this previously. The Alter Rebbe goes further in this and explains that everything in the physical devolves from the spiritual. Everything has a spiritual root and source. So every prohibition that the Torah speaks about has a source, a root of life of that klipa. Right? It exists in a spiritual in the spiritual world, even if it doesn't devolve and come down into this physical world. Now, the only way it can actually exist in this physical world is because it evolves or devolves from the spiritual, because the spiritual is a source of vitality for everything, right? Even a simple little act of me going with my hair like this, crinkling my hair, is an act that I need vitality to do. Where does that come from? Where does that come from? From God's holiness, right? Ultimately, that devolves into this world. So, for it to exist in this world, it has to exist in the spiritual realm. Now, what if it just exists in the spiritual, but actually never actualized and came down into the physical reality? Right? It gives examples over here of unwittingly misdeeds, like tithing, that you call the ninth sheep the 10th, and the like. And the kind of the eventuality that cannot be deliberate and thereby cause klipa to light upon it. And there are circumstances. So if it doesn't actualize down here, what does that mean? Does it mean it's not up there? So the Alter Rebbe says that even if something does not exist down here in Klippa, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist in the spiritual realm. The supreme wisdom of God, as it was given to Moses at Mount Sinai, it's there. It's there. As we know that any seasoned student that will innovate, it will have an innovation in Torah wisdom, that was given to Moses at Mount Sinai. It's there. The seed of it, at least. For example, the Talmud speaks about Yirmiyah. He would ask so many hypothetical questions in the study hall of so many off the wall, off the charts impossibilities, to such a degree that he was actually said, please leave the study hall right now. We're not dealing with this anymore. Yet it's incorporated in the Talmud. Why is it incorporated in the Talmud? Even though it was so unlikely that it would ever happen and even possible to happen. Yet those questions that are not of a physical reality, of a reality down here, but purely hypothetical in the spiritual realm, was given to Moses at Mount Sinai. All of those questions, for example, of Rabbi Yirmiyah, by way of example, in the Talmud, they are part of the supreme wisdom. How's that? Well, because the supreme wisdom of God is infinite. The Torah is infinite. So therefore, every particular law in the Torah is a gateway to the supreme wisdom of God. And wisdom is called Chachma. Chachma is the father founds the daughter. Chachma, the father is the idea of Chachma, metaphorically is Chachma, wisdom, the seed, and the daughter, which is speech, which is Malchus, which is the oral Torah. The oral Torah, right, as opposed to the written word, which is only a certain amount of letters and words in the written words, from the oral ad infinitum. All the laws, they are a gateway to the supreme wisdom of God that are expressed in speech. Again, the father that the daughter derives from the father. Malchus from Chachma. And therefore, every one of the teachings of Torah is rooted in divine wisdom that will then devolve into the worlds of Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, that will then take hold there in some form of klipa, that through the studying of that area of Torah, through speech and thought, we will then separate from the klipa, from the shell that's covering, that's holding back on the spark of holiness that's there, and separate it and elevate it. And separate and elevate it. With this, and we can understand the teachings of our sages that say that the first holy temple was destroyed because they did not, the sages did not recite the blessing before the Torah. What does that mean? They didn't say blessings. Of course, it means blessing comes from the baruch, means to draw down. A blessing means to draw down what's in the spiritual down into the physical. They were not taking the spiritual and bringing it down into physical, meaning they were not refining and extracting the sparks of holiness that were there, that were drawn down from the infinite light of God that's in the supreme supernal wisdom that's clothed in the laws of Torah. They didn't refine it. And because they didn't refine it, that's why there was destruction of the first holy temple. So therefore, says the Alter Rebbe, with this, the consequence of this is that now we understand that the requirement of every individual, right, that has a nefesh, ruach, and neshama, right, the three components of the inward part of the soul, that you need to fulfill 613 commandments in thought, speech, and deed, meaning all the details of the law, to fulfill it in deed, fulfill it in speech through the study of it, and in thought in the comprehension of it. Every detail. Meaning, and every detail on the simple meaning, the allusion, the homiletics, and the secrets of the Torah. All of that needs to be fulfilled. Otherwise, the soul needs to come back. That's reincarnation. Because there needs to be a refinement of the entirety of the individual. 288 sparks that constitute the complete structure of the individual. 613 categories of the soul, right? Components of the soul that need to be refined. But when Mashiach will come, we don't need to refine the world. The study of Torah then will be only in a positive sense, because the klipa will be removed from the world, so you don't need to bring the refinement. All you need is to bring the soul to higher and greater levels of connection to the Almighty. So what we have over here, that the entire Torah is eternal in all of its details, even if the certain detail will not come to fruition in the physical reality down here, but it is rooted up there in the spiritual realm, that also devolves into the spiritual worlds, that it becomes embedded, that teaching in a klipa that we need to learn, even though it may not be practical. As a matter of fact, we've been learning a lot of laws of Rambam. We're learning how the laws of Paraduma, of the red heifer, and laws of tumas meis, of impurity that a person has by coming in contact with a corpse. In times of the Holy Temple, that meant something. Today, well, without the Holy Temple, it's not so practical. It's not practical, but it doesn't matter. Our soul needs the refinement of every element of our soul. The world needs refinement, not just the physical world, even if the physical reality doesn't express itself now, but the physical, the spiritual realm does. And therefore there is a devolvement of the supreme wisdom of God, that is the infinite light of God that's bedded in there, that expresses itself in Malchus and in the oral teachings of the oral tradition, which includes, all the Jewish law and all the Jewish teachings till this very day, that by learning it, we are refining our soul. And if we don't do that on all the dimensions of our soul, then our soul needs to come back to be able to do that. Because that's what we need to accomplish. times of Mashiach, we don't need to accomplish that because the world will be refined, and therefore the Torah study will be in a way of just accessing greater and more holy levels of the divine rather than refining the world as it is now. Okay, folks, I'd like to entertain questions, but I really can't do that right now. I must run. Okay. Yes, awesome, powerful stuff over here. We will continue our conversation. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you for Chabad Zich and Kadeshim. It's a privilege and pleasure to share with you, Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you.